All right, guys, today we're going to do unit number 1, topic 1.5. And in this lecture, we're going to cover the law of supply, quantity supplied versus supply, and the shifters for supply. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So first we need to figure out what is supply, right? We already defined demand as willing and able, right? And so very simply and very easily, supply is, again, at different quantities, a good that sellers are willing and able to sell or to produce at different prices, right? And so we have the law of demand. So of course we're going to have the law of supply. And what is the law of supply? The law of supply, very similar to the law of demand, is that there's a relationship with price and quantity, right? Now, the law of demand is that there's an inverse relationship, right? So law of demand means that as price goes up, quantity goes down. But for the law of supply, it's going to be as price goes up, quantity goes up, right? And so what's that going to give us? That's going to give us a positive slope for our supply curve. So we're going to get a upward sloping curve, right? Or a curve that goes up. Right, so it will look like this, right? So we can see here that we have, you can see here that you have price, right, quantity, and as quantity increases, price increases. Now, why is that? Why does price increase as quantity increases? Well, because we are profit seekers, right? We like to make money, right? And because we like to make money, we're going to, and if we're making money or our product is, the higher price it is, the more we're going to want to make of that particular product, right? Let me give you an example, right? So if you are a babysitter, right? And say you want to babysit, right? And let's go ahead and do that right here. We're going to do what's called a supply schedule, right? And so your price and quantity, right? So dollar, 5, 20, 30, and $100, right? And so let's say your price per hour, right, is $1, $5, $20, $30, or $100, right? Well, how many hours are you going to babysit if you're only making $1 an hour, right? Probably 0. Okay, and at $5, you're probably going to maybe do one job of babysitting, right? Okay, and then at $20, okay, well that's more money, right? So you're going to probably want to babysit a little bit more. So let's do 5, right? And then at 30, you will do 10, right? Just make more money, right? And then for $100, well, maybe we do 20 hours of babysitting, right? And you notice that as the price goes up, right, the quantity goes up. So there's, again, that direct relationship. As price goes up, quantity goes up, okay? And so that is referred to as a supply schedule, okay? Now, if we were to take that and graph that, you would have a curve, right, that we saw earlier, right, that looked like this. A curve that was, upward sloping and then supplied to the sky, right? So you have price and quantity on your axis, and then an upward sloping curve, right? And then just make sure that you're always labeling your curves and stuff like that, right? So we have price, quantity, and then your supply curve. And so again, as price goes up, your quantity is going to go up as well, right? So again, it's showing that supply curve. And then again, our babysitting supply schedule, that would be represented in that curve too. So now let's imagine, right, that you are able to some way babysit electronically, right? You're able to set up cameras in people's homes, right? And so now you're able to babysit maybe 2 or 3 kids at one time, right? Maybe this is not the best example, but that's whatever. So you're being more productive, right? And through technology, you're able to watch more kids, right? So you're able to now supply more of your product, right? So, and that product, of course, being babysitting. So you would increase your supply, which would be represented like this, right? A supply shift, okay? Do that a little better for you guys. So now with your new technology, right, you're able to supply more, so you would do more babysitting at those different prices, right? And so that shows us a change in supply, okay? Now, of course, this is an increase in supply, right? Notice that the price never changes here, right? We're going to, at the same price, we're just going to offer more at that particular price, right? If we want to change price, let's say prices change, right? For your babysitting, that's done this way, right? Okay. As we move or slide up the curve, right? That's a change in supply, right? Quantity supplied. A change in supply is the movement of the curve, right? Because you have more people that are now willing and able to produce that particular product, right? So that's a change in supply. Now, a decrease in supply, let's say, you injure yourself or something like that, right? When you hurt or break your leg. So now you're not really able to babysit as much, right? And so that would be a decrease in supply, right? So that would be a shift to the left, right? So a shift to the left would be a decrease in supply. A shift to the right would be an increase in supply, okay? Now, there are 5 shifters or 5 determinants to supply. Sometimes people say 6, but one of them kind of doubles down as 2, right? So there's price and availability of inputs is 1, number of sellers is 2, number 3 is technology, 4 is government actions. So in those government actions are taxes and subsidies. Okay, so what is a subsidy? A subsidy is a government payment or business to a business or a market. Subsidies cause the supply of a good to increase, right? So examples of things that are like subsidized is, vegetables and stuff like that are a lot of times subsidized. Why? Because it's not very profitable to be a farmer, but the government will subsidize that so that people have some, vegetables available in the grocery stores and stuff like that. Maybe the flu shot could possibly be subsidized, because the government doesn't want people to get sick. So the vaccine for the flu or the strand that they're going to give, whatever, that again, helps with people not getting sick, people not dying, people still paying their taxes, right? So the government may think of subsidizing that industry if they not already do, that would be a payment to whoever puts out the strand of the flu virus or that vaccine that they use. And then expectations of future profit. So if you think like a market is going to be really profitable, you're going to have more people attracted to that market and drawing more people in. So you're going to have more people that are going to want to get into that particular market. Notice that none of these things really have to do with price. So again, price does not shift the curve. It is only movement or a slide up and down on the actual curve, right? And so that's going to be it for supply. Again, today what we covered was the law of supply, quantity supplied versus supply, and then the shifters for supply, the 5 shifters for supply. Thank you guys and have a good one.